Let's talk sleeper pitchers and hitters for Week 11. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Friday, May 31st. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's start things off with 2 start pitchers. Are we starting these names? Beginning with Kutter Crawford, who has struggled lately. He is up against the Braves and at the White Sox.
Yeah, that Braves matchup isn't so tough right now. I do think they'll get better, but middle of the pack in runs and especially bad lately. The White Sox are far and away the best matchup for pitchers. They are 50 runs behind the second to last team in runs scored.
Oh,
yeah. So, yeah, I think Kutter Crawford's fine, even though he's been shaky lately.
Bailey Ober is coming off one of his worst starts of the season. He is at the Yankees and at the Pirates.
So that first matchup at the Yankees is scary, tough offense, park that gives up a lot of homers, and Ober is home run prone for sure. But he's also Bailey Ober, and you got to start him with 2. The second matchup at Pittsburgh hopefully makes up for that first one.
Nathan Eovaldi is coming off his first start from the IL. He only threw 3 innings, and he gets to Tigers and the Giants.
Yeah, I like those matchups. Hopefully he'll go deeper against the Tigers. I imagine he'll go 5 innings if he's pitching well and then be fully stretched out for the Giants start.
Tyler Anderson cannot keep getting away with this, but so far he has. And he faces the Padres and the Astros.
2 top 12 offenses there, and I don't buy what Tyler Anderson is doing at all. In a points league, for the volume, maybe you could do it, but even though he's in line for 2 starts, I don't have Tyler Anderson among my 10 sleeper pitchers for this week. So what does that say?
Tristan McKenzie is home against the Royals and at the Marlins.
Like the Marlins matchup, of course, and Tristan McKenzie, the results have been okay, but the walks are so high. Like, even when he's okay, he's damaging your whip. So I think that's a points league only situation for Tristan McKenzie.
Frankie Montas and his teammate Andrew Abbott are at the Rockies and home against the Cubs.
No, I mean, in Colorado, in Cincinnati, 2 of the most hitter-friendly venues for pitchers who have had difficulties. Andrew Abbott especially being so fly ball prone. I think this week could be a problem.
Last on the list is Trevor Williams, home against the Mets and home against the Braves.
So he, like all of the Nationals pitching staff, is pitching well, doing some interesting things with the sweeper especially, and those matchups aren't so bad. Like I said, Braves offense struggling. Even so, I'd leave Trevor Williams for points leagues.
Who are the 2-star pitchers that you are looking to add and stream?
So I like Matt Waldron this week against the Angels. Pretty good matchup against the Diamondbacks. Not as good, but I don't really think the matchups matter so much for Waldron as much as does he have the knuckleball working. So he can either beat himself or not. And lately, Matt Waldron has been pitching well. So I like him with 2 starts. Kyle Gibson has been up and down as usual, but his good starts tend to be really good. And one of his 2 matchups this week is the Rockies on the road in St. Louis. So I think that makes Kyle Gibson worthwhile.
There are a lot more single start streamers for next week. Who are your favorites?
So Christian Scott at Washington, he's been fine, a little underwhelming with the strikeouts, but that's a good matchup. Reese Olson against the Brewers, who technically have a top 5 offense, but Reese Olson has a sub-2 ERA, and that counts for more. I think Christopher Sanchez has been throwing harder his last couple starts and walking nobody, also facing the Brewers, but I just think I think the pitcher matters more than the matchup when the pitcher is as high end as Olsen and Sanchez. Ben Brown at Cincinnati, young lineup, strikeout prone. Brown obviously has shown tons of strikeout potential all along, but is working deeper into games, hopefully. Braxton, Garrett, and Cole Irvin, a couple left-handers going against the Rays, and the Rays have the second highest strikeout rate against left-handers. Albert Suarez at the Blue Jays. He's looked great anytime the Orioles have asked him to start. And Alec Marsh against the Mariners. Don't really buy what he's doing, but the Mariners is an easy matchup.
Let's slide over to the hitters' best matchups for next week. The Astros, Rockies, Padres, Cardinals, and Reds. The worst hitter matchups, Brewers, Rays, A's, Yankees, and Dodgers. Who are your favorite sleeper hitters for Week 11?
Well, you mentioned the Rockies there with the second best matchups. I think Brenton Doyle is the best representative there. He's gotten the strikeout rate low enough that he's able to consistently deliver at the plate, power, speed. Is up to 77% rostered, so he may not qualify for this list for long, but I like him this week. Jake Myers, you look at his StatCast page, there's a lot of red. I think he's close to breaking through for the Astros. They're starting center fielder, and the Astros have the most favorable hitting matchups of all this week. The Blue Jays, you didn't mention them as having as being among the 5 best matchups, but they're playing 7 games. They end the week against the Athletics pitching staff. It's pretty good matchups. Davis Schneider has been hot lately, and I think is just under rostered to begin with. I like him this week. TJ Friedl back from the IL, batting leadoff for the Reds, who have a series at Coors Field. Ian Happ has finally started to perform at the plate, and 4 games at Cincinnati for the Cubs this week. Ian Happ in his career there, 49 games, 17 home runs.
Oof.
It's a great venue for Ian Happ. The Cardinals have the 4th best matchups, as you mentioned, only 2 left-handers in their 7 games. I like Nolan Gorman, who's been hot. I like Alec Burleson, who's about a 320 hitter against righties. But Mason Wynn, 330 hit against righties, even though he's a right-handed batter himself. So I think he's a good play as well. Matt Vierling has been hot, playing more for the Tigers. Their matchups are pretty good. And Dylan Moore continues to start for the Mariners. Struggled of late, but I think he'll bounce back this week with 3 lefties on the schedule in their 6 games. He's their best hitter against lefties with an OPS in the mid 800s against lefties.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.